I made it. I'm 6 months late to this lesson. She's gone now. This is not a fictional line written for dramatic effect. This is a brutal confession. The suffocating realization of a man who woke up only after the final chapter of his relationship had permanently closed. Look directly at your own life right now with absolute, unforgiving honesty. Have you ever tried to be the perfect man, constantly agreeing with everything she says, accommodating every whim, simply to avoid a conflict? You tell yourself it is maturity, a sign of an understanding partner who knows how to love. But the unforgiving reality of attraction psychology proves a completely opposite truth. Unconditional kindness and absolute compliance act as a slow poison, silently executing respect and extinguishing sexual tension from the inside out. When you turn a woman into the absolute center of your existence, her brain does not register devotion. It registers a crushing psychological weight. The deepest evolutionary mechanics of female psychology operate on a cold biological framework, where endless availability and negotiable boundaries drop your perceived value to absolute zero. Millions of men willingly shrink their own identity, silencing their boundaries to preserve a fragile, fake peace in the room. This fear of friction traps them in an invisible loop of submission, where they genuinely believe that replying within seconds, rearranging their entire life, and being perpetually available is the guaranteed insurance for her loyalty. Under the lens of evolutionary psychology, this behavior is a catastrophic biological failure. In the ancient, primitive world, an individual who consistently backed down under pressure to buy safety was coded by the female brain as a weak entity, completely unequipped to protect or lead through adversity. Excessive kindness strips a man of his independent presence, the exact masculine gravity that anchors genuine desire. When your every move is predictable, when you become entirely safe and infinitely accommodating, you cease to be a man to be conquered. You become a mere domestic utility. You become like a piece of reliable household furniture, comforting, but completely incapable of sparking raw passion. This is precisely why the vast majority of mainstream dating advice for men fails completely, teaching men how to overserve and sacrifice instead of showing them how to stand immovable within their own frame of value. The human brain calculates the value of an individual using the exact same unforgiving law that governs economic markets. What is scarce is perceived as highly valuable, and what is infinitely abundant is treated as disposable. Desire is maintained through a stark, uncompromising equation. Scarcity breeds attraction, and strategic silence constructs mystery. When you abandon your own priorities, skip your training sessions, or neglect your career goals just to fit into her last-minute schedule, you project a devastating subconscious signal that your time is entirely worthless. It proves to her that you have no grand mission to conquer, no internal code to defend, and nothing more critical to achieve than waiting for her validation. Her primitive brain is hardwired to identify and reject men who have no independent life. The subconscious mind makes no distinction between the pricing of a luxury asset and the value of a man. It responds exclusively to challenge, friction, and the investment required to earn a place in your world. If you see your own reflection in these fatal mistakes right now, if you realize you have minimized your presence, agreed just to avoid an argument, and allowed your self-respect to be eroded day by day, hit the like button on this video right now as a definitive pact to break away from that weak past self. Leave a comment about the boundaries you negotiated away. I will personally read it and help you realign your masculine vertical index. This internal transformation demands the reclamation of what Niccolo Machiavelli defined as virtue, not virtue in a moralistic or polite sense, but strength of character, an iron will that possesses its own absolute direction and asks no permission from anyone to exist. A man of real virtue has an ultimate mission, a life purpose that stands independently of and far above any romantic connection. Conversely, when you crown a woman as your sole source of meaning, you transfer a crushing mental burden onto her shoulders, an immense pressure forcing her to be responsible for the happiness, validation, and existential stability of another grown man. Women do not seek a child in need of maternal guidance, nor do they desire an emotional hostage. They crave solid ground, an immovable rock capable of withstanding the storm. The modern scarcity of authentic masculine anchors forces countless men to wander aimlessly, constantly hunting for cheap signs, "she likes you on social media," rather than forging an internal sovereignty that naturally commands respect. True confidence with women never originates from empty aesthetic vanity or artificial mental tricks. It manifests exclusively when you possess the capacity to enforce ruthless boundaries, embodying both the fox and the lion. The majestic presence of the lion ensures you never bow down to disrespect, while the sharp intelligence of the fox enables you to read and neutralize subtle emotional manipulation instantly. High-value men do not waste their life force trying to dominate others. They dominate their own reactions and defend their perimeter. When a boundary is crossed, the needy man panics, sends frantic messages at 2 a.m., or stages desperate scenes of anxiety. The stoic man deploys disciplined, absolute silence. Human psychology only learns and adapts through consequences. If someone steps over your boundary and receives immediate, easy forgiveness, you have effectively taught them that their comfort matters more than your self-respect. Where there are no consequences, bad behavior is guaranteed to repeat, escalating with ruthless momentum. The ultimate gravity of masculine magnetism is never determined by what you sacrifice to possess another person. It is determined by what you refuse to compromise to maintain your own alignment. When you cease begging for approval from the outside world, the world inherently adjusts itself to the gravity of the frame you establish. Now that the toxic reality of compliance has been thoroughly dismantled under the light of behavioral psychology, the immediate next layer you must master is transforming this stoic independence into an active force that restructures unconscious desire. Click on the video appearing on your screen right now. Why 93% of men fail at female desire, and the one psychological trick that changes it, to unlock the raw behavioral matrix that most men will never understand. Do not allow your awakening to happen after she is already gone. Subscribe to Beyond Attraction Psychology and execute your internal revolution today.